All right, hey everybody, it's Eran here. Wanted to go live. It's 7 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time, and I'm doing an email marketing 101 training. And I'm joined with Aparna, who's volunteered to do a new style webinar here, where we're basically going to do a one-on-one session. I'm basically going to do a one-on-one coaching session with her purely on email marketing. I mean, if other things come up, we can obviously discuss. Like this is for you, Aparna. I mean, it's other people are going to listen, but this is for you. Okay, so we'll do that session, and then people will, listen, and hopefully you'll get some value. And we'll try and focus on email marketing. Just a quick disclaimer, or preparation for the discussion. I do have some FAQs on general email marketing, which I'll take care of after I finish talking to Aparna about her stuff and her business. Also, I've spoken to Aparna on Messenger briefly, but I've never actually spoken to her on the phone. So this is the first time we're speaking ever. Okay, so I deliberately did it that way. I want to be totally like authentic like that. And another point is I looked at a little bit of her stuff just to get an idea of what she does and stuff and so on. And I figured, it'll be probably a good topic and see how we go. Hey, Veronica, thanks for being here live. And then basically, so yeah, we'll pretty much get started, and then I'll take care of FAQs at the end. If there's anybody in the Facebook group who's able to give me a little message, just to let me know that you can hear me. Otherwise, we'll get started right in. Actually, hang on. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, I just unmuted myself on Facebook. Okay, so what I'll do also is I will probably share screen a little bit at some point, so you can see what I do. Like in coaching calls, I would want to learn about the person. So I probably will share a little bit of what Aparna does and have a look and take it from there. So there you go. That's my intro. So Aparna, thanks for being here and thanks for volunteering, being the guinea pig here for us.
Yeah, thanks Eran for having me. This is the first time, like I said, that I've ever done this, and I don't mind being your guinea pig.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I've actually been following you before my friend introduced me to your Facebook group, but it's wonderful that you're doing so many different things to help new and established entrepreneurs to get their tech stuff sorted out. And that's, I think, other than our tools of trade, we tend to focus on a lot of those things, and then it takes our time away from our actual service. And so, yeah, what you're doing,
Totally.
what you're doing actually adds a lot of value to people like us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your business and what you do, and then I'll also kind of have a look at your website because I have it open now.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm actually a KonMari consultant, which means I'm trained by Marie Kondo, and she's a Japanese tidying guru. And this is something I've been doing for over 6 months now. I got certified last year, and I just became the first consultant in Singapore to log in more than 150 hours, which means I'm a bronze consultant. So we all start off certified with 30 hours, tidying and helping families. And my niche is working with families and young children. And so this was a very exciting achievement for me a couple of weeks, or maybe last week. Yeah, last week.
Great.
And so I'm also a Montessori assistant, which is again stemmed from another passion of mine. When I had my children, I wanted to parent them in a more positive manner. I wanted to see where I can prepare my home in a way that I don't nag them to do their things. And I wanted to empower them to be independent in my home, because that's a space that's shared. They need to feel like a part of the home. Not just in the tangible aspects, but the way that we use our language and the intangible aspects as well. So I thought that having these two parallels is beautiful, having that Montessori approach and teaching families how to tidy their homes, involving their children. And so that is where I thought that my skill set would come to use to help families with little ones. And that's how my consulting service began in August last year.
Yeah, that's great. Is it a side hustle or full hustle?
It's a part-time hustle because the other hustle is being
okay.
a mom. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, I get it. So you do one-on-one and you actually go in people's houses and stuff like that?
That's right. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, wow. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And then have you done any email marketing at all whatsoever?
The only thing I do is write blogs twice a month, and I email my active list about twice a month. Yeah, so every time I have a blog and announcements, I usually do my, email marketing.
Yeah, which is great. It's a good use of the email, obviously.
That's all I do with my blogs right now and my email marketing.
Okay.
I don't have a freebie yet. That's something I still have to work on. I don't have what is that like? Yeah, I don't have a funnel where people come in. I know that that's something I need to do. Have a freebie for them to download and that kind of thing. I don't have that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you kind of do when I'm looking at your this is your link tree from your Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. Take me to the latest blog. I want to read your feature in the Straits Times. Okay, so it goes to like a newspaper thing, like an article.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Free consult. It's sort of a lead magnet, right? Book 30-minute discovery session.
Yeah. Yeah. So I basically have a 30-minute discovery call. Try to assess if clients who want to reach out for private coaching or a potential group coaching family, and see if they're a good fit to my programs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. There's a couple of things I'll tell you right off the gate, just like in terms of lead magnets.
Yeah.
It's very easy to complicate it, right? Like thinking it needs to be something fancy. My best lead magnet took me 20 minutes to put together. I've got a lead magnet that took me a week to put together. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a good one. You could see it on Facebook group, 21 productivity tips and hacks. I mean, I wrote it for days and then I got it designed professionally and it was full on, and it's okay. It's a good lead magnet. It's a lot of value. You had a lot of good feedback on it. But at the end of the day, it's not really so much. It doesn't have to be fancy. My best one is my sales page outline, which is just a template for how to write a sales page. And it took me 20 minutes to do it. So I wouldn't also think like you can have a lead magnet in an hour from now, right? So I really wouldn't make it so it's like a difficult or challenging or a long process, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And also your 30 minutes thing, that in itself is actually a lead magnet. I want to take you through a little slide here on this point as well, which I think will be good to discuss.
Yeah.
I have a lot of slides to go through. Oh my God.
This looks like an interesting set of slides. I hope that do you have a training on this one?
This is the training that I'm planning to do for when I actually launch the membership officially. All these slides are part of training that I'll be doing it. And I've been trialing this training with my clients, like one-on-one. So some of my clients have seen that stuff, but not all, basically. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what that is. This is some more training. Let's see. I think this one might have the email marketing stuff. Let me just have a look. There's a particular slide about lead magnets that I think will be valuable. There you go. That's the one. Okay, so this is a lead magnet freebies training that I've not done with anybody really. But the goal of the lead magnet is to give your potential ideal customer something of value in exchange for their contact details. Okay, so there's a lot of examples. It can be, it could be the typical PDF guide, ebook, and so on. But when you sign up for a free trial with software, right? That's also a free trial or a free account. That's an example. A phone call, which is what you're doing right now. That's also a lead magnet because you're capturing their contact details, right? Yeah. Whether they get on your list or not, or if you have all that automation set up or you move them, that's a different story. But it is still technically an option, right? With me, I give away a free Facebook group, right? Probably a lot of people on the call, they might want to have a Facebook group. That's a good way to also build an email list. And I ask for people's email addresses before they join the list, right? So that's another way to do it. And of course, if they register for a webinar, free training, any of these things is technically a lead magnet because it's all about capturing the lead, right? So there's really 3 rules. Like if we were to finish this call and you could decide by the end of this that the phone call is good enough, but also getting somebody to commit to a phone call it's a much bigger commitment than downloading a little PDF that they could read on their own time. Because yes, you're giving them 30 minutes of your time, but they're also giving you 30 minutes of their time, right? So they're doing you a favor more than you're doing them a favor, you know, which is maybe a perspective that, you know, people need to appreciate a bit more. Like the customer's time is actually valuable. So you adding value to them by giving them a lot of content is not necessarily value, because you're eating their time so much. So, which brings me to point number two, the rule number two, which is provide quick value as well. So I guess there's three things that I focus on my lead magnet. Number one, number one, it needs to be interesting. Like a free phone call could be maybe not so interesting. They're like, well, it's just a phone call. What's the big deal, right? It doesn't give any mystery. But if you were to do something that has a headline, which is a little bit more mysterious, you know, learn the 3 secrets to blah, you know, or the 7 tips that will make your life less stressful with your children, or whatever, you know, something along these lines. You'll be like, well, hang on, what is those 7 tips, right? Yeah. Then that will be a little bit more of an attractive lead magnet, okay? But either way, you want to obviously provide some value. I've seen people, I have tried a lead magnet, which is like a mini course, you know, with a lot of videos or 5 videos. I found that to be not very good because it's not providing quick enough value. You want to think of your lead magnet a little bit. This is how I see it. You got to think of it like a cup of coffee. You're giving them a little caffeine buzz. You know, you're giving them a little caffeine buzz. They're like, oh, yeah, that was good. I like that. Okay. What else? You know, that you want to look at it that way, not like a meal planned for the whole week, you know? Okay. And then the last thing is that lead magnet has to bring the relationship forward. Like, okay, they finish reading, and a lot of times you're so focused on giving them the value in the ebook, there's no call to action at the end. It's like, well, hang on, what is the call to action? What are you actually giving them that's going to be getting them in touch with you further, right? So there's at the end of the freebie, and then another point is once they download the freebie, you got to understand this is when they're the most interested and eager. You've got their attention, right? So a lot of times people are like, they just say, thanks, you're subscribed, go check your email. It's like, why? Like, make use of it, right? I would do something a lot more like a thank you video, say, thank you so much for downloading. You'll be in your inbox in a minute. While I have your attention, I wanted to give you some extra value that you might find interesting and will help you in your life instantly. Give them a little hook, 1 sentence, and then give them a little training on something, you know, or something along these lines. Or at that point, you could say, I actually offer 3 consultations with people who signed up, and I just wanted to give you that as an extra bonus you didn't expect. And I know your time is valuable, so I wanted to tell you the 3 things that you will benefit in a free consultation, because I know your time is valuable. Point number 1, we will get clarity on blah. Point number 2, blah. Point number 3, blah. If that's something of interest to you, this is a 0 obligation call. This is not a sales call. It's just, you know, to give you that piece of value. And I know that hopefully, you know, some people might feel like they would want my help further. And if not, you'll be able to take what we discussed and implement it further. Something like that. Strike while the iron is hot. You know what I mean? So it's just could be a better bridge to your free consultations.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Are you getting a lot of consultations at the moment, or not really?
Yeah, I am actually.
Good.
I am, and a lot of them either go to the one-on-one coaching, or they immediately tell me that they're happy to get on my wait list for my group coaching, because that's something they really want. I realize that people who truly need the help are calling me and not just having a free call. Yeah. They want something at the end of it. They want a service that can help them. Yeah. And it is not just, I just want to talk to Aparna and see what she has to say. They really need help because they're, it's coming in their way. The clutter is coming in the way of their relationships and their mental health and all of that. So yeah, I actually, once I capture their emails, I just note down which ones are group coaching, which ones are suitable for that, which one would be a perfect fit for my one-on-one. But because I haven't gotten their approval to go on my marketing list, I haven't given them that, or they haven't gotten permission, to say okay to me. I feel I don't think I should be putting their email on my, my marketing list. But for my Facebook, I do the same thing. Before they enter my private group, I actually ask for an email and I say, I'm going to be giving you freebies once in a while, and you won't hear too many times from me, but it's all going to be value added in these 3 areas, which is living sustainably, with your parenting and with tidying your home. And so that's how since November, I just opened up my Facebook group. So so in 5 months, I think I've almost 300 email addresses already because of that, because of my Facebook group. But that's one of the reasons why I think having an extra, because I don't want to put my eggs in one basket. I think having different sources of email lead capturing would be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you're doing all the right things from that perspective. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Facebook group appointments and then, manually noting down who's who. I mean, I know it might sound like, well, it's not fancy. Well, it doesn't need to be fancy,
Yeah, it doesn't.
It really is okay to note it down. My CRM is an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. That's how unsophisticated my CRM is. I got nothing fancy. So it's on Airtable, which is similar to Excel spreadsheet. So so that's fine. Okay, perfect. So then tell me about what did you hope to learn about email marketing? What do you feel might be a struggle or questions you might have?
I think doing the tech is something I'm really, because I put things off, because of the tech.
Right.
I have to learn everything myself, and I have a little of a problem letting go because I have a certain way I like to do things, and it has to be looking a certain way. And so that kind of puts me off into getting it done. And of course, it takes time away from actually being with my clients and putting out content on my Instagram or even writing a blog. So I've been putting this off for way too long.
Yeah.
Just setting up this automation, just 5 emails, I'm sure would be easy to do. But I believe I'm not great at copy. I speak well. It's just that when I write, I have this, I think it's just a mental block that it doesn't sound.
People who say that they struggle with copy, and it's so common to hear that, right? It's so common. Now, I'm going to have a look at something. Okay. So how did you come up with this Instagram caption?
I don't know. It just comes to me. I just think of something because I wrote the 3 secrets. So I'm like, okay, can I let you in on a secret, and then I write that. That's about all.
So here's
I wish I had these plug and play captions, but then they don't all apply. I know there are enough out there on the internet, but they need to be applicable when you have inspiration. So I don't plan my posts, on a Sunday and plan for the week. I don't do any of that. It's just when inspiration hits, I just write my post. I wish I had that kind of schedule, but it hasn't worked for me as yet.
Yeah. Okay. So here's some more copy.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's. I wish it could be better. It's always like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all practice, honestly.
Yeah.
But you've got all your copy here. I'm gonna give you a hack that you're gonna love. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll show you an example. I did that not long ago. Instagram captions on a Google Doc.
Oh.
I want you to look on the left.
Yeah.
This is every single Instagram post that I've done in the last 1.5 years.
Right.
And all the captions in text. One by one.
Okay.
Okay. And if you look here, it's 130 pages of copy text. So there's a lot of people who do a lot of stuff on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. They're actually writing captions every day, or they're writing content every day. But the association of that versus email marketing is just not, there's no association. But actually, this is no different. You can use that as content for your email marketing, and I'll explain to you how to do it in a second, right? So this is 130 pages of text that I can use for my email marketing. So if I'm ever stuck for inspiration, I just go to this and I'll go like, okay, let me find. And if I want to, obviously, instead of scrolling through 130 pages, I actually have it by post. So I've got a title and a little bit of info. So for example, 3 lessons I learned about Think and Grow Rich. Okay, so then I see that, and I can always click on the link, and it actually will take me to the post as well. So I can actually see what the post said and so on, because you've got some nice graphics and so on, right? So how to stay motivated. Okay, so I did a post on how to stay motivated a while ago.
Yeah.
4 requirements to making a great affiliate program. So if I want to talk about affiliate marketing, that's what this post is about, right? Yeah. Now you might be thinking this will take you hours to do, right? Like this is a long process to do. I didn't do any of it. I paid somebody to do it for me, and then they did it. This will probably cost you about $30 to get someone else to put this for you on a Google Doc like that. So you will have all the inspiration you could possibly need for your email marketing from here on out.
Interesting.
Considering you, right? Considering you have so much already.
Yeah.
You know, like you've got so much content already. What email software are you using?
So I have a Squarespace website, and I just use whatever's available there because it's easy to capture the email addresses on the same place and send my emails off. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so let's pick one of your captions and write an email together. Would that be helpful?
Yeah. We could do the one that that actually has like 1, 2, 3. So maybe either that or the 5 alternatives. Yeah.
The best times to simplify your home: when children are young, when it affects relationship, when preparing to welcome a child. Is there ever a good time to tidy your home? I got this question asked numerous times. When you tidy your home using the method, it's maybe hard to believe. Okay, good. So let me ask you this, right? How did you get into this and why? Tell me your story.
The KonMari journey?
Yep.
Yeah. So I've always been organized as a child, super organized. Okay. And it just comes naturally to me to keep things tidy and to know exactly how to plan the next day. And, you know, I'm not all over the place when it comes to my home and even my thoughts. And so, but when I became a parent, that changed because they come with great chaos. You know, kids come with their own things and routines get bungled up. But that's when I stumbled, you know, upon the Montessori method. You know, how to parent better and positively. And I realized that since because I'm actually a trained doctor. I was in the healthcare administrative industry for 8 years now, and although the job was, I had a wonderful team, you know, wonderful boss, excellent organization. It's just that the job didn't spark joy, you know, as Marie Kondo says, after I had my children. And I realized that when I was doing a bit of soul searching, what am I really good at? I love being a parent and I love sharing because I used to get a lot of asked a lot of questions about how I parent and how I can help, you know, with others' parenting struggles. And a little more of soul searching, realized I want to do organizing as a business. And that's how I came across the KonMari method. Spoke to a couple of people about how it has changed their lives, did a bit of research, and I said, I want to get certified because that adds to your credibility. And it is a popular method. And the one thing that stuck to me was you don't have to keep doing it forever. You know, you don't have to keep tidying your home all the time. And that's what was appealing because parents don't want to be spending all their time decluttering and tidying. They want to spend that time instead with their kids. And so, yeah, so I decided a couple of years ago, I wanted to certify, but I couldn't fly out to do the course in London because of babysitting issues. But last year turned out to be excellent because of COVID, everything went online. And so I had that opportunity, that golden opportunity to do the course online. And yeah, I seized it. I said, I don't think it'll ever go online once we're out of the pandemic. So yeah, that happened last year.
Amazing. That's great. So here, this is a really good topic. Don't have to tidy your home forever, right?
Yeah.
That's like a misconception, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's something that you could definitely write an email about. So subject line for that would be biggest misconception on parents have, right?
Yeah.
For example, right? Anxiety killer, let's say. You know,
Yeah.
if you're to see a subject line like that, chances are you'll be like, okay, what
Yeah.
is
What's
that?
that? Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and that subject line is the most important part of an email, because you could write the best email in the world, but if your subject line sucks, nobody will even read the email, right? Or very few people will read it. So you want a subject line that's gonna, the purpose of the subject line is one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to create enough mystery so somebody opens the email. I know it might sound like, what do you call it? It can be a little bit like spammy. You know, sometimes people really misuse that. Like there is a misleading way to do it, and then there is just, okay, I'm just trying to create a bit of mystery so you actually open my email.
Yes.
Right.
I know. I've actually received emails that feels like they hooked me for the wrong reasons. It was not what the subject line intended to do.
Yes.
So I know what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And then you always want to start with some sort of a hook at the beginning, and then every line is designed to get the reader to read the next line. The best formula, the easiest formula for a beginner, I feel, is what's called hook, story, offer. Okay, that's the simplest formula. Okay, so this is already a bit of a hook. Okay, and then tell a story. People love stories, they read stories, and then give them an offer at the end. Now, you don't even have to give a big offer. The offer could be as simple as, I'd love for you to reply to this email and let me know if you had similar experience. Right? It doesn't have to be like something horrific or salesy.
Yeah.
You know, just getting engaged. You just want the engagement, you know?
Yeah.
Right? And then if they reply and you haven't spoken to them, you could say, that's, you know, they'll tell you about their experience. That's such a good engagement. You can say, wow, that's amazing. Amazing. How did you find me? You know, like if you don't even know them, sometimes I get emails from people like, I have no idea who this person is, right? So like, how did you find me? You know, and then they tell me, oh, I met you at blah Facebook group. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And then I go and I search and I get it a little bit more in someone, and then I can build that. And then all of a sudden I can get an appointment so easy from that.
Yeah.
Right? Because your goal, you're trying to get appointments, right? One-on-one appointments with people who are interested in potentially getting additional help, right?
Yes.
So tell me, you know, there was one thing that's missing from the story you told me earlier, Phil. So you were a child, you were very tidy, turned to parents, this changed, blah, blah, blah. When that changed, what changed and how did it affect you? What's the story behind that?
Well, I started to lose my mind with all that the stuff that you're supposed to have, you know, for kids. So I had everything, you know, the rockers, the multiple plastic toys, everything that, you know, all these marketing guys tell you you're supposed to have. The toy stores are, you know, tell you. I didn't know about minimalism. I didn't know about sustainability, which I am passionate about now. I didn't know that you don't need so many things, you know, to engage with your child. And that kind of went against what I believed in, you know, to have that peaceful home, to have everything organized in a nice way. And I was like, this is not how it's supposed to be. And that's how that search began, that I don't want to lose my mind parenting and stressing out about keeping things tidy while I need to have all of this stuff. I need to have, I need to be somewhere in the middle where I can have a little, but I can also keep things tidy and also be on point with my parenting game. You know, I just still want to be a positive, calm parent and not just be with all that stuff.
How much money do you reckon you spend on toys in the beginning?
A lot. I think every month we must spend hundreds on books, on everything, clothes. So when I say stuff, it doesn't just mean toys, everything that a kid ever owns. So, you know, I had separate things for, you know, sterilizing their bottles and multiple bottles, not just two, you know, everything was multiples of everything. So you realize that you don't need so many things. It just makes life more complicated.
And was it what, 1 year, 2 years that this was going on? What's the time frame?
So it was after I had my second child. It was the first year after. So about 3 years into parenting.
Yeah. Okay. And how long for? So for 3 years you were doing all that stuff, buying stuff and.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the Montessori principles and all of that was something I was researching on. It came in my third year of parenting. So that must have been in 2015.
Yeah.
So
I'll give you another subject line. Rookie parent mistakes that cost me thousands of dollars. I wished I knew.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want to appeal to a little bit of a more logical mind.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, again, you got the same thing, the story, you know?
Yeah.
And the story is very simple. You know, when I first became a parent, you know, you have your child, your first child, you want to give them the world. That's just the way it is. You will give them anything.
Yeah.
You know, you put it on a credit card, you will buy them when they say, you just want to say yes, you want to give them everything you didn't have as a child, blah, blah, blah. You know, does this sound familiar? You buy this, you go to the store and give them a story about when you go to the store, you wanting to buy one thing and you come up with 10 or whatever, you know what I mean?
Oh yes, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I had exactly that. I did exactly that.
Yeah. So tell them that one story from that one time, you know, and then at the end, does that sound familiar? Does that resonate? You know, how much, you know, do you feel you might be spending a little bit too much money on items for no reason? I'd love to hear your experiences. Please reply to this email and share it with me.
Yeah.
You know, or please come to the Facebook group. I've just started a thread and it's quite entertaining. You should read everybody's feedback on that and see, you know, and send them to your thread on the Facebook group so they are more engaged there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Right. Or if you've got a Facebook, you did an Instagram post, you could do that. So use the email list to also drive engagement in your social so you can get more exposure.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So those are good emails. Adds credibility. So for example, if you want to talk about your credentials, subject line, right? You could say the one good thing that happened to me because of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And then you could tell about the certification story.
Yeah.
Hook, story, offer. Okay.
Yeah.
Soul searching. Okay. So the soul searching, that's an interesting one. How long were you in university for to become a health professional and all that?
6 years.
In university?
Yeah.
And how long did it take?
After my A levels, right? Is that what you're asking?
After what?
After 12th grade, after grade 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 years.
Like college, university?
Yeah, 6.5. Yeah.
And then how long were you in the industry for?
8 years.
And you stopped because it just wasn't passionate anymore?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Okay.
I think it also came at the time when I was tidying my old home. You know, I realized that this is what I love doing. Why don't I just do this and help other parents? Because I used to get a lot of questions as well, not only just parenting, like how do you keep your home so organized? Do you have children who live here? You know, it's something that people used to always ask me.
Right.
How do you
Interesting.
have children in this home? How do you have walls that are not scribbled on? So, and it's not something that I don't consider myself an authoritative parent. I have they have complete freedom, but of course they have boundaries. And that's another Montessori principle. I completely respect that they need their space, but the home is a shared space.
Yeah.
You know, they can't do certain things in the home that would affect others who live there.
Yeah.
So where can we channel those energies and their creative expressions in a more respectful way? So yeah, there was always freedom, but within those boundaries and limits.
Yeah. I'm coming up with a few subject lines, Vince, what you're saying. Does your house look like this?
Yeah.
Right? is also another way to do it in subject lines. You can ask a question, and if the answer
Yeah.
is yes, they will probably open, right?
Open it. Yeah.
Is your house a mess right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The
How many
mess.
times do you send emails around? Like every week? How do
Great
you
question.
do your?
It's a great question. So I try to do it every week. The reality is sometimes I do it more often. Sometimes I maybe have 8 or 10 days. And then actually what I think will be valuable, I'll actually show you my email account.
Yeah.
So you can see. So I sent one, this one, 22 March, right? And then this one was 20th of March, 16th of March, 10th of March. So you see there's a 6-day delay here. 10th of March, but this is to a different email list. So I've got 2 different email lists. So that's that. This one was 7th of March, 3 days. 1st of March, 6 days. 1st of March, again, these are 2 different email lists.
Yep.
22 Feb, so this is 7 days. 18 March, 18 Feb, 10 Feb, 9 Feb.
Okay.
You get
so
the
week
idea.
7 to 10 days. Yeah, that's your style.
3 to 10. Sometimes it's like often, but it's somewhere in between. So I try not to do it for more than 10 days or more than a week. I try to do once a week. I've tried, and I think that's also another point, like you getting started is actually more important than knowing what other people are doing, because I can tell you, like, the more you try and plan it, the more you're not going to do anything, because you have no idea what's going to work, right? When I first got started with email marketing, I'm telling a story, okay? Honestly, like, I just thought, you want to do open rates and you want to give value, four emails of value, and then send something to sell. So it's not too salesy. And then you want to look at your open rates, and then you want to check your click-through rates, and you want to figure out how to improve that stuff and all that stuff. But open rates is how many people open versus how many people don't open. And like let's say, look at the latest emails that I did. You can see percentage-wise. It actually tells you percentage-wise. 2,000 emails were sent, delivered, 207 opened, 13 clicks, right? Some people will look at it and be like, oh my God, that's only 10% open rates. That's not very good. Or they might think it's amazing. I don't know. You know what I mean? Everybody could have their opinion. When I stopped focusing on this, and I don't care about any of it anymore, and that's something that I learned on my own, just sending emails. And I'll tell you what I learned. I learned that these metrics are completely unimportant. There's only one thing that I care about when I send an email. My goal with every single email is I want one person to reply to me and connect with me on a more personal level. That's all I care about. I don't care if there's only one person that opens, as long as that person is the one that replies to my email and says something meaningful, right? That I can actually engage with, like, I think this email, I had maybe 4 or 5 people who are in my email list who then went to join my Facebook group, right? Because this email was all about, you can actually see numbers, right? How many unsubscribed, how many marked as spam, how many opened, and don't worry about that stuff. Like, this happens. Like, who cares? Like,
I'm actually happy. I'm actually happy when people unsubscribe, even if it's 1 or 2, even if it's small numbers every email. It just helps to know that I'm reaching the right people every time.
That's right. Exactly. So like today's email was, oh no, this is not that email. This is an old email. Today's email, was marked as spam because I was selling something. So that's okay. You saw this email today that I sent out. Webinar number 3 is coming up. Excited for that, blah, blah, blah. And then the call to action was the Facebook group. Okay. So I had about 4 people from the email list come and join the group, which is great. 2 of them are warm. One of them, I'm 90% sure they'll become a paying customer. The other 2, I've got no idea who they are. Okay. That's great to me. Like, this is fantastic. They're going to listen to maybe this recording. They obviously are interested enough to hear about this. So they'll probably listen to this. And that's great. And I've got 4 more people who I'm going to be more connected to, right? Another point is that I've got a process that I call the strangers to customers process. And I'll kind of scroll through to get to that section. Or maybe I already have it on the previous tab. No. And this is something that I really focus on. My sole goal is I want to get people and move them away from being strangers over to becoming customers. And it's coming up. There you go. So this is the slide, okay? So cold traffic, people that don't know you, over to warm audience, and then buyers, okay? Step 0 is to capture their attention, right? Which is like on Instagram. They see your post on Instagram. They're like, oh, this is a cool post. Let's look at a link at the bio, right? You capture their attention. Then you got to figure out what is the step you want them to do and take once you have their attention. In your case, at least right now, until you have a freebie, and you don't have to have a freebie. If you're getting appointments, don't even worry about it. Great. You want them to make an appointment, right? That's what you want them to do. What are the remaining steps to take them through to warm them up to becoming a customer? Right? And that's what email marketing is. Now, there is 5 points that actually result in somebody going from a stranger to a customer. And there's no variations to that, right? And that's called touch points, right? i.e. how many times you either hear about me, read about me, watch a video from me, engage with me, somebody else talks about me. Any of these things is a touch point, okay? Because I'm more and more connected with you in some fashion, right? So every one of these red things is a touch point. Now, if they're not following you on Instagram, they're not in your Facebook group, they're not on your email list, how are you getting those touch points? You're not, right? Or if you're getting it, it's probably for paid advertising and you're paying every time to Facebook for them to see you, right? So when you're collecting their email address or have them appear in Facebook group or Messenger or whatever, you're making it so it costs you $0 to have that touch point. Because if you send an email to your list, it doesn't cost you more than what it's already costing you. If you send an email to 5 people or 1 million people on your email list, it's actually not costing you a hell of a lot more, depending on what email provider you're using, but it's not costing you a lot more, right? Really, it's the same cost to that degree. So that's something you want to look at. And every one of those emails, you got to think of it as a touch point. So why I'm showing you that is because I know that every one of my prospects, people on my list, people on my Facebook group, they're somewhere on this scale of strangers to customers. I don't know where they're at. Maybe they're all sitting right here, right at the beginning. But I know that I've got people who are a bit closer, some people who are a bit closer, some people who are a bit closer. And I know that the next email is going to bring somebody who's going to open it a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further until they're like, okay, great. I'm totally like, let's talk to this guy, right? And that's my sole focus. So if you can think of your email marketing also from a very strategic perspective, it's not about the open rate. It's about connecting with those humans because you're doing it because you're passionate, right? Like you're passionate about this. This is not like, you're excited about it. You want to share it, To answer your question about how often, let that come to you versus what I tell you. Just start doing it. And also you'll find that if you share stories, it's not very salesy, really. I mean, just like you could just tell them about a story about a messy room, like a funny story, tell them a funny story about when the room was so messy. And then, anybody else have a funny story like that, please come join the Facebook group. I'd love to hear your story. We have a funny thread about it. You might find it entertaining or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'll be a great way. And then those emails, you will also feel so much more comfortable sending them without feeling like you're being salesy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you can always at the end of that say, P.S., book an appointment if you'd like to have a chat. If you've been on my list, you see that occasionally I also say, if you haven't been on my list, if we have never spoken on the phone before, I would like to invite you to just get on a call, right? Because I try, I mean, I've got the 2,000 on my email list, approximately. You saw it on my account, but I've spoken to about 500 of them on the phone. Like on Zoom, I've probably spoken to about 500 of them, right? So it's a lot. So yes, it's not a big list. I spoke to somebody earlier today. They have 64,000 people on their email list, right? So it's another point, like big list, small list, whatever. It's about the relationship.
Yeah.
I prefer 50 people on the list that I actually spoke to on the phone, on Zoom, face to face, than 50,000 that I've never spoken to in my life and they have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that shifts your perspective a lot.
Say it again.
That really shifts the perspective a lot.
Correct. So then how often? Let it dictate for yourself what you feel comfortable with, because you got to feel comfortable about it. But once you get your content feeling like it's really valuable versus spammy and feeling yucky, because your inbox is full of yucky emails, so it gives you that, I don't want to be that. Well, don't. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Don't be that. Be somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's also good news to you, because the fact that so many people are just spamming, you could really stand out. It's actually really, it's good news for you, because you're like, oh, I can actually be one of those people who don't spam, right? And the other thing is, in your niche, your competitors, you're not in the digital marketing space. So you probably don't have a lot of competitors doing very good email marketing anyway.
I don't know. I haven't checked.
I haven't checked, but they're not marketers necessarily. They're not digital marketers. They don't live and breathe digital marketing. They live and breathe, cleanliness and tidiness and minimalism, and you know what I mean? That's what they live and breathe. So, if you can have a little bit of an edge on the marketing side, you can definitely dominate more, right?
Yeah.
Best product does not always win. It's the best marketed product.
That's hilarious.
If that wasn't the case, you wouldn't have heard of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, that was a really good question. Do you have any other questions like that?
Yeah. So, how do you, unless you are creative with captions, for example, you just came up with a bunch of them on the spot just by hearing my story, and you said that experience does that. You just get it with experience. Is that the only way? Is that the only way? I just have to write terrible emails, or copy, or write I don't know, captions that excite me but not necessarily my customers. How else do you think about captions that way? Yeah.
Think of a funny story or an interesting story you have in your experience.
Yeah.
Just any story. Like if you were having, you're sitting with a friend over a coffee and you want to share a funny story with her, what would you say?
I don't know. I can't think right now.
Okay.
I'll have to, yeah. So I'll have to think about it because I'm not a very, I can't make jokes and those kind of things
that's
immediately.
Fine.
Like it's just something that's not me.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I'm very straightforward, very simple.
Yeah.
It just doesn't come to me easily, having the puns. And I've seen people do all those things, right? the catchy, hooky captions. So I guess it's a skill as well. And that's why you're doing what you're doing.
That's right.
But I hope experience gives, some kind of, I heard of someone who actually not copies, but they have like a list of emails they receive from different email marketing people. And they actually keep a bank of captions to look at.
Yeah.
Something that, but not everything is applicable, but.
That's called a swipe file. And everybody on this call should actually do that. And I'll explain how to do it. That's a really good point you brought up. Open up a new Gmail account. Don't use your actual email for that. Okay. Because you'll just get your email box.
Yeah.
Right. So open up an email that says learning.aparna@gmail.com. Right. And then subscribe, go on Instagram and, type in minimalism or tidiness or any of those keywords, right? Or Montessori, find people in your niche and see which one has a website, subscribe to their email list, okay? And then get inspiration from what they're sending and stuff like that. Inspiration, and figure out how to do it better too, right?
Yeah.
You can look at their lead magnet, look at their content, look at their story, and then learn from it, right? If you go look at my email, I mean, I've got so many emails because we all do, but I subscribe to things all the time deliberately because I want to. But people make a mistake when they subscribe using their real email. Don't use your real email. Use a learning email address, and that's your learning email. That's your inspiration, right? So you can use that to help you with that inspiration, so you're not, feeling like you're tongue-tied. That's number one. Just, when I look at my old emails, like I recently did a migration. I moved my email list from GetResponse to Flowdesk. And I was looking at all the old emails I wrote like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Oh my God, I cringed. I mean, I cringed. I was like, this is so bad. I mean, these emails are so bad. Okay. But I thought they were great at the time. You know what I mean? Or I thought they were okay at the time, but they're just terrible. I wanted to reuse them. I told my virtual assistant, says, please put them on a Google Doc, show me, and then set them up on Flowdesk for me. And then she set it up on Flowdesk, and I went to go edit them. And I was like, I can't use any of them. They're just garbage. They're just pure garbage. I don't want to send that. I can't believe I've been sending this for the last 3 years. Right? So you got to be willing to do that. But no one's ever emailed me and told me, hey, your emails are garbage. They're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's okay,
Yeah.
So I don't mind.
We are a bit hard on ourselves, aren't we? A little bit.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. I've really rarely had anybody. I've had a couple of people here and there saying this email was blah. You know what I mean? But rare. You know. But even the only times I actually got told my emails are crap was because of like grammar mistakes, right? And English is my second language sometimes. So sometimes sure, my grammar is not. You know what I mean? So fine, whatever. Take it on the chin. Yeah. I'll get better. Yeah. That's also practice.
Right.
You don't learn a language reading it in the classroom. You learn a language by
using it.
Language. You're using it. Exactly. So it's no different to the email marketing. But if you feel like you're uninspired sometimes or whatever, go competitors and see what they're doing and get inspired like that as well. And then the other thing is, just think of stories that happen, even think like when something happened, now that you're a little bit more conscious of your email, the hook, story, offer methodology, think about, okay, let's say today something happens that's, interesting with your child, whatever, that they don't want to come eat. You've had the food ready. They don't want to come eat. Think about, okay, how can I turn that story or that experience into a story in an email, So, the subject line will be the struggle of getting your kids to eat their meal or something. It doesn't matter, come up with something that's a story to what it is that you're doing, and then say how you overcome it and what was the end of that story and how the meal ended happily ever after and they ate everything and finished their plate. You know what I mean? You'll be surprised because it's your niche. Your niche is talking to parents. People are going to connect with that, Yeah. It also makes you look really human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not sending them some spammy email. Book a free consultation, it's like.
No.
Tell them about your nightmare experience of your kid today. Parents are going to love that. It's just the way it is, so.
Yeah.
Does that help on the inspiration?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was really helpful.
Okay.
I'm very inspired with the way that you were just creating all those captions on the fly. So.
Oh, yeah. Practice, honestly, just practice. But yeah, messy house. What's the other thing is that can you think about the 5 or 10 pain points that are coming up to your audience?
Yeah.
Tell me what they are.
Tidying all the time.
Say it again. Tidying all the time.
Tidying all the time. Just wasting time doing this. You want me to I actually have just give me a moment. Just give me
Is that a list of pain points?
Yeah, I actually have them all neatly written down somewhere.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I know that the biggest pain points are, wasting too much time doing it all the time, nagging at their children to get things done. I need to go and look it up. Another one was complaining that other people in their home are messier than them, but actually that's not the case. Yeah, basically just overwhelmed with that, just buy, declutter, buy, and that vicious cycle. And yeah, the guilt, sometimes you just buy things and you want to just get rid of it all, but someone's given it to you, it's sentimental, and you don't want to throw it away, so that adds to your clutter. I can't think of any big ones other than that.
These are so good. That's great. So for example, overwhelmed with clutter, right? Subject line. That you just said a subject line. Overwhelmed with clutter. It's a great subject line, right? Somebody who's overwhelmed with clutter.
I thought all of these are done so much, or maybe I'm just looking at it in my own circles. These are done quite a lot.
Oh, like the subject line?
I think so. I don't know.
Totally fine. But test it. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of people are doing it because it's actually working.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't go wrong testing it, right?
Yeah.
Overwhelmed with clutter. 5 tips to fix that in the next hour or something, right?
Yeah.
Or just 5 tips. And then do, okay. So you could say today's email is extremely practical. Tip number 1, right? Tip number 2, tip number 3, tip number 4. And at the end, what's the call to action that I would do to an email like that? Was this helpful? Would love to hear from you. Would love to hear what you thought. I would even do even more specifically. Was this helpful? Please reply to let me know.
Yeah.
Right. Get them into communication with you.
Yeah.
So here's some good call to actions. Please reply to let me know. Was this helpful? What tip was your favorite? Can you please reply to this email to let me know you received it? Even if it's like just a plain, hey, are you even getting my emails? Right? That could be a good call to action at the end of a story. And you can say, by the way, can you please reply to let me know you received it?
Yeah.
Just totally not even relevant to what you wrote. Just like, again, it's all about the relationship, build a relationship and engaging, and that's all. So yeah, it's a very, very soft call to action. There's nothing salesy about it.
Yeah.
You know? And then of course you want to reply to their reply and get into that conversation, right? So yeah. And then you'll figure out what you like. That everything I'm sharing with you, by the way, this I don't know if anybody taught me that. It's just something that, I felt like it felt so much more natural to do it that way.
Yeah.
Instead of click here to read the sales page. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, sure, I do that sometimes, but
Yeah.
This is much more human.
Yeah.
And I care about the one person. Again, it's always focused on the one person that's going to connect with you better. If you send an email once a week and that email gives you one client, right?
Yeah.
How much of a difference would that make in your business?
Amazing. That's exactly, I need X amount of clients. So yeah, if I do it based on the emails that I'm sending and that expectation, which is not very much, that actually feels great.
Yeah. It'll probably take you 2 hours to write your first email, maybe 3 hours. That's okay. Practice.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it. I mean, you could see I am quick now, so it's becoming less time consuming as well.
Yeah.
But what I would suggest, you have a lot of content on Instagram already.
Yeah.
I would actually hire a VA. Like I did that. I just hired a VA and I said, go for my Instagram, recorded a short tutorial on what I want. They went and they got everything set up for me. Yeah. Yeah. So every time I need inspiration, just go Google Doc.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Amazing. That was really helpful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we'll cut it off here. I'll go to a little bit of a Q&A.
Yeah.
And see what other people have said as well. Yes, I don't sleep. I agree. It's true. Let's see what else. Thanks a lot for volunteering, Aparna. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And yeah,
hopefully. I appreciate your help. So.
No problem. I'll be doing a group in Amruta's a session in Amruta's group.
Yes.
Next week, I think. So
this week.
This week, is it? Yeah. Okay. This week. And then anyway, so yeah.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, I'll see you there. Thanks a lot. And then I'll go and answer some some Q&A from anything that anybody wants to know.
Yeah.
All righty. Let's see. Marianne asked, is it best to have some sort of a free offer to get them to sign up on your website? And should you have an opt-in on each page and homepage only? So when you're starting out, Marianne, I would say that keep it really simple. Like if you just have it on the homepage, that's good enough. Like you don't need to have anything special, you know, or if you want to have even simpler, don't even have a homepage officially. It's just an opt-in page. An opt-in page, I mean, could be as simple as, let me just open up one example of a landing page that I have. Just that. Free book reveals the secrets of building a profitable internet business. Discovered a book that enabled me to replace my 9-to-5 job with an internet business within 8 months of implementation. That's an example. I also have this one, which is like a webinar opt-in page. And this one is free training, the simplicity of finding clients on Facebook without paying for advertising. Okay, so you could do something really basic, and it doesn't matter what the offer is. I showed a whole bunch of examples earlier in this session, so pick any of those. In you know, it could be as simple as you know, free consultation, PDF, cheat sheet, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Obviously, it's got to be valuable enough in comparison to them giving their email address. Okay, so that's that question. I didn't see any other questions, to be honest. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions, but I think we've covered a lot of valuable stuff in this specifically. So I think we'll leave it at that. Oh, there you go. There's a few questions here. These are YouTube questions. Not a question as such. I would love to get more sales from my list. Pointers to figure out what I'm doing wrong. Sales from your list, are you sales call or sales page? Email marketing. Okay, I think Michelle, hopefully I gave you a few tips on that point. Stories, really. Hook, story, offer. Yeah. How often should the emails go out? How much information should you go out, providing value, not giving away too much? How much should you sell? One other tip I want to give about email marketing, this is something that worked really well for me. My emails, I actually write relatively long emails. So if you look at some of my, I mean, sometimes I do it short, but actually I do a lot of long emails. I think this one is an example. Like this is a long email. Now, the reason I have that and it works well is I actually space it out. So if I had a grammar teacher or an English teacher read my emails, they'll tell me I've got it grammatically wrong because I'm not doing paragraphs, but I actually am deliberate about it. I do it, I paragraph every single sentence. Sometimes if the sentence is long, I'll even cut the sentence in half and space it out. And I do it because it's also on mobile, it's less overwhelming to read, right? So I actually, even if I can have a long email, but I space it out a lot for that exact reason. Okay, so that's another really important tip that I would do. Here's a really long one. Yeah, a lot of stuff there. Yeah, I would definitely do long ones. So that's something that I just found works really well. That doesn't mean that you should do it or everyone should do it. Again, it's just testing. But when I do long emails, I actually get more customers that way because yes, less people read it, but those that read it, oh my God, are they so much more engaged? Because by the time they get to the end, they're like, okay, they've just read my email for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? They were really interested. If somebody's actually going to bother and read a long email from you, that's really, really good, right? Another question is providing value without giving away too much. How much should you sell versus provide information? The email list is there to be sold to. Okay, so let's also be straight up about it. Like, you know, yes, you want to add value, but you want customers, right? So don't be afraid to sell from that perspective. But again, if you want to find that balance between being salesy, because you don't want that, the balance for selling, but also feeling good about it, test out those mini call to actions that are so much more, you know, softer. You know, could you reply to this email? Let me know what you thought. You know, was this helpful? You know, can you join my free Facebook group? You know, whatever. Would you mind telling me how you found me? You know, I'd love to know more about you, right? Another good way to have touch points is have proactive touch points. What I mean by that is you would see that sometimes I send an email saying, could you please send me your YouTube channel? I'd love to subscribe to your channel, right? Why would I do that? Because number one, chances are they're like, yeah, I want to get a subscriber out of this. So they'll reply, right? I'll go and subscribe. I'll look at their channel. I'll be like, okay, I'm learning more about them, you know, what they do. Or I could say to them, could you please send me your website? Let me know what it is that you do. You know, I'd love to have a look. So I go and I look at the website, right? So if I was, you know, getting an email with the person's website, I can get so much more insights. So then when I send them an email reply, I'll be like, I went through your website. I had a look. This is amazing, blah, blah, blah. This is my feedback. I'm building a relationship, right? So that's another way to overcome that. So you're really not selling. You're just using the fact that you have their email address to connect with them. You know what I mean? That's all. So just like in this phone call, I asked, you know, Aparna, what's her story behind getting with Montessori and all that. You can ask those same questions on email, basically. It's just a slower process. Over the phone, it's obviously so much faster, but email, you still go through the same process. So there you go. That's that. Cool. I think these are good enough questions. If anybody has anything else for me, let me know. Otherwise, thanks a lot for joining. Veronica, I see you're live. Do you have any questions for me?
I think the only question I have is in terms of, you were talking about sending out the longer emails, sending out, you know, spacing it out. I tend to do that with my Facebook. In terms of trying to be brief, you know, because I feel like that's been I tend to be long-winded, right? I do stories, but what I do is I link it into my blog. So I'll start the story and maybe even I don't finish the sentence, and then I'll click it into my blog. But what I'll try to do is have a really brief little intro that's personable. Then I'll give them something that what I would call content that isn't salesy, that's whether it's a story or, you know, whatever. And then I will do something like, oh, join my next blah, 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 you know, whatever that is. And then I close it with a question. So I'm not sure if I'm almost feeling like sometimes that might even be a little long, but maybe it sounds like it's not, because you're finding that if people are reading it, they are more engaged.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes it is long. I've got people who are telling me your emails are way too long. I can't read them. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got, but every time I send an email, I get a response from somebody saying, I'd like to work with you, or joining my Facebook group, or whatever. That's all I care about. So, you know, you can't please everybody, you know, and this is something you can definitely test. So you can send an email today at a certain time and do the short form, and like you said, the blog, right?
Mm-hmm.
And have the link. And then optionally, next week, do the exact same thing, or in 2 weeks, exact same thing, but copy and paste the entire blog and see which one is getting you better engagement, better response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's day of the week. I mean, it just seems to be really random. Like I don't really track it, but I just feel like sometimes people, even with a Facebook post, you know, that sometimes people respond to something and other times they don't. And I feel like, oh, I think it's just timing. Yeah.
Testing it out. It's all testing.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, as soon as I shifted my mindset to open rates, click-through rates, to I care about my people one by one, and that's what I care about, I stopped caring about all that stuff. And I just found that it was just so much better for me to have that approach, you know. Then I felt no shame sending it on a Friday evening or weekend, or if I get very little opens or people are not responding to my, if I do a Facebook post and I get 0 comments and 0 likes, it doesn't matter to me. If I had one person that sent me a DM because of it, great. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Right.
So one of the thoughts, Aparna, you said that you were able to do the online course because it was now on Zoom. And so are you doing consultations on Zoom for yourself then? Are you able, Aparna, to literally consult with people all around, or are you still trying to, because I was going to say, what with Eran saying, show me a picture of, send me your website. For you, it would be like, send me pictures of your mess, or whatever. Send me your biggest challenge, pictures of your biggest challenge, kind of thing.
Totally.
And that would be, one of the things I've struggled with just because of my work is, I work more, I'm an intuitive, so I do more intuitive stuff, which is, it's not therapy by any means, but it's still very private. And so I work on, we're really working on the soul level, working with personal growth. And so I really have a hard time with anything that's salesy, because, it's not like, oh, let me go in and, access your Akashic records to find out what's going on with you. I mean, that's just not appropriate. But instead it's like, I give them information for them to do self-reflection and such. But I feel that stories are helpful. And so I guess for me, it's almost like I want them to know I'm here, but I don't want to be, I don't like the whole guru thing where like, I'm the only one that can help you, that kind of thing. So it makes it a little bit tricky. So I feel like it's really got to be more about attraction than about, I'm the person to work with, because I may not be. Yeah.
So you got to understand also your niche. It's a very emotional sale. And it's also hitting them at the right time of their life when they're ready for help as well.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's a spiritual thing. It's
exactly.
Not just...
Right. And I have people who've been on my mailing list because I use Constant Contact, and I've been doing this for 15 years. I think I've used Constant Contact for more than 10. And so they've been on my list forever. And so recently I said something about, well, I think at some point I'm looking at writing a book. And then somebody responded who I hadn't heard from in years, who I don't even know if I've even done a reading for some of these people, but literally will be like, oh, I can't wait to read your book. So they're obviously reading my work, but just not. And so to me, that's engagement, so.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, definitely send them to, if you've got a Facebook group, send them there. Your YouTube channel, if you've got them there. And ask them to just reply and say, like, even if you send them an email asking, how are you? Say, hey, send you a quick email, spend some depressing news. Then going through the news can be a little bit depressing sometimes. I thought I'll just send you a quick email to ask you, how are you doing? How's life treating you? How the pandemic affected you? Just get them in communication with you,
Yeah.
And even just
exactly. And I feel like for me, it's what I realize is if I have events, that helps me stay motivated to send emails. If I don't have events, if I don't have anything going on, then I'm not going to send emails. So I feel like that's been my motivator is to make sure that I keep something on my calendar so that I'm constantly having a reason to work and to do that. So yeah, but yeah, this was helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. In terms of my membership, I've got another 8 days, I think. So if anybody wants to check it out, I've got a link for that. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the Facebook group. You can go to Eran Funnels. Actually, yeah, I'll just link it. It's probably easier than reading out the URL. Just check it out. And yeah, that's about it. So thanks a lot for joining, everybody. And I'll wrap up the call here. And obviously the recording will be available on the Facebook group until the end of the month. And I will have this recording available in the paid membership forever, basically. And then I'll do more trainings on email marketing as well, more tips. If somebody wants to also get help from my VA to get their Instagram captions the way I showed Aparna, send me a DM, because you can actually hire my VA to do that for you. It's $8 an hour. And then depending on how much captions you have, it could take an hour. So you can get it done for $10 for $8 basically. So it's a really easy process, you know, and I did that probably about 3 months ago. And I was like, this is so good. I can't believe how good this is. Because I was like, all of a sudden, all my content is like, you know, all written there. Because, you know, anyone that's been playing the Instagram game, we know how much time we spend on captions. And usually we do it on the phone too. So we're like this, like freaking, you know, like it's ridiculous. We're on the phone, lying in bed, trying to type and going through and paragraphing it and, you know, and finding the right emojis or whatever. It's like so tedious.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, when I did that little practical and I paid my VA to do it, all of a sudden I was like, okay, all this misery of typing captions for months has now come into life, and there's real value in that. So anyway, all righty. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eran.
Yeah.
Bye.